And hello, Seller Sessions. I have with me today Mr. Chris from Global Wine Advisors. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning to you. It's good to see you and your lively face there in the morning over in California.
I know, right? Every Monday is like this for me.
I
I
love
wake up at 6 o'clock. I try to meditate a little bit. Try, because I'm still kind of sleepy. And then I go
it.
on with my day, but it's like the perfect start of the week for me because
Yeah.
I get pumped up. I have an amazing guest. I get to get inspired by them, so it kind of holds me over for the whole week. And then I do a reset on Monday. So
Love it.
every Monday I have something amazing coming into my life. Claim it, Chris. Claim it.
So what you're telling me is you don't get a case of the Sunday scaries, right? You embrace every Monday as that's your day. That is
You
your
know
day.
what? I think it is. And a funny thing is, I was born on a Monday at
Mm.
8 a.m., which kind of,
Ooh,
it's like, I know, right?
I
It's
like
like straight in. I was like, I'm ready for this. And it's
that.
March 8th. So March 8th, 8 a.m.,
Okay,
Monday. I
there
mean,
you go.
I'm kind of destined to do great things.
Yes,
So,
the universe is trying to tell you something, basically,
oh,
through all your numbers.
it's telling me so many things. So many.
So many stinking things.
I went to an amazing event yesterday. It was Dan Flashman's 40th birthday. So he has like a pizza festival. He calls it every year. They had Steve Aoki, they had Lil Wayne, they had all these like Insta celebrities, and it felt really, really nice just to be in that environment because it's in
Mhm.
LA, right? San Diego is a completely different territory. Like
Yeah.
San Diego, I feel like I know for San Diegans, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but I feel like it turned into West Palm Beach. Do you remember West Palm Beach like 15 years ago? I don't know because I
Yeah,
haven't been there.
I do. Yes, like stuffy, right? Is what you're saying?
And kind of boring in a
Yeah.
sense. It's very mellow, not boring.
Yeah. That's
Everybody that comes here, they say, "I love San Diego," and I love San Diego. I think I'm a true San Diegan, but I went to LA. I'm like, oh my god, this life was just hiding away right here. But anyway, so that was my Sunday. How was yours?
My Sunday was pretty good. I mean, we it's I try and really save the weekends to be switched on to family. I've got two kids, 12 and she's turning 9 in 2 days on Wednesday.
Wow.
Um,
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
yeah, we got a new cat, so that was her birthday present, and she got a kitten.
Oh
And
my goodness.
yeah, so yeah, we my son and I played a round of golf, and we went out to lunch and just kind of had a lazy Sunday afternoon. I kind of needed it. We went to
Yes.
ASGTG last week, so I was out of town for a few days, and
I heard it was amazing, was it?
it was really good. I mean, look, it's really good to get in front of a lot of people. The space is growing so quickly, and from our perspective, there's a lot of education that needs to be brought to the table. So while for us, we're not there to try and I need lead. For us, it's more like, hey, look, you're getting bombarded as a seller by all of this acquisition noise. Let us walk you through kind of what all of it means and where is everything going, right? What does it mean for you as a seller? It's getting, I talked to a few guys in particular. One guy I spoke to, he's going direct himself. He's not using a process, and he told me he's about to have a nervous breakdown. And I said, look, man, I didn't know you before you did all of this, but the last thing I'm going to do is I told you so. But this is why you use a process, because you've never done any of this before in your life. You've never done anything with mergers and acquisitions ever, period. And then all of a sudden you've got a bunch of these acquisition funds coming to you, all telling you, don't go through a process, just go direct to us. Here's my LOI. And then you go into closing, and it literally feels like a ride at an amusement park where you're not expecting the drop off. You just kind of go and everything feels fine. And then all of a sudden you go down and you're just like, I don't know what's going on right now. And so he's like, I'm so confused. I asked him some specific questions. Have you gotten your APA yet? It was 7 weeks into the process. He said, no. I said, you're screwed. They're going to retrade you. They're going to do X, Y, and Z. And he had no clue. And it's like, this is why you hire somebody who's been through it We go through it every single day, literally every day. We wake up at early in the morning until late at night, and this is all we do. This is all we work on.
So why did he say he wasn't using somebody like you? Like, what was the reasoning? Did you ask?
Like, because these acquisition funds have done a really good job at trying to convince people that it's all roses and daisies, and it's not. It just isn't, and they've got to stop doing it. In my opinion, and the space needs broader education on exactly what their options are in front of them, an assessment, and to help assimilate all of those options, and also realize that there may be a lot more options than just the 5 that are hitting your inbox. And so my guess is probably to save a fee. I mean, just to be blunt, and you can't look at a fee with this process as a fee or a cost center. It is an ROI. I'm hiring someone like you, Rank Bell. I come to you not because I'm going, I just really like spending money. No, you're an ROI. I go to you because I really want to rank quickly for all of my products that are my assets. And oh, by the way, the difference between using Rank Bell and not using Rank Bell could be millions of dollars. Hi, it's the same thing over here. The difference between using a process and not using a process literally could mean the difference between millions of dollars. And so it's tough for sellers to wrap their head around that. They look at it as an expense they can possibly save. These funds are encouraging it. Hey, save the broker fee, save the broker fee. And it's like, yeah, honestly, if you hire a junkie, I'll save my language, by the way. I'll make sure to keep it PG. If you hire a junkie firm to represent you, absolutely just save the fee. But when you hire a true professional service who have decades of investment banking experience and have worked on transactions that are well larger than the funds that have even been raised to buy FBA acquisitions or assets, yeah, that's going to be a good process, and that's going to be an ROI for you. No questions asked. I don't know if you can tell I'm a little passionate about this.
You're very passionate. It's like when I speak about Rank Bell. But I think you're right to the degree that we could definitely all use a little bit more education. I mean, people choose to do different things. Some people go with a much cheaper service than Rank Bell, and and most of them just come back and say, that wasn't worth it. So sometimes people have to go through their own process to realize, because if you ever push anything on anyone, they feel like, and I understand your passion, I can sense it because I have the same. And sometimes, people just need to learn on their own. And, I think your company's very prestigious and very well known and very respected. So I don't think there's any issues on that side. Just sometimes people need to go through their own.
It's just education. I mean, look, when you look at any other,
some people don't know services like this exist. I mean,
correct.
Look at the small community that we're in. I mean, correct. It may seem big, but really, if you think about it, it's a speck of dust in the big pool of how many sellers there are out there. Like,
no, you're right.
A lot of people don't know you. A lot of people don't know me, but it's by, having those good experiences with certain services and companies that is going to carry your name. Like, I've never done an ad for Rank Bell, and, we might at a future date, but it's just, it sells itself because it's so good. And I feel like the same with your company.
No, it's true. You're exactly right. I mean, look, there's 2 years ago, if I was on this podcast, we wouldn't even be using the word aggregator, right?
Right.
A year and a half ago, if I was on this podcast, pre-COVID, we barely would be using, we might be talking about THRAS. Like, we wouldn't even really be using the word aggregator, right? So now you fast forward 18 months, the amount of change that has happened in this space, it's happened very quickly. So you've got a bunch of really smart people who have built incredible businesses, and the focus has been on, Amazon growth, Amazon business, choosing product, software to help you choose that product, category research, ranking, organic, black hat, gray hat, white hat. Then all of a sudden, boom, acquisition hit this space like a supernova, right? Just like a holy crap, what just happened? With a lot of people who have never been involved in any type of financial services, any type of finance. They don't understand corporate finance. They don't understand investment banking. And guess what? They didn't need to. So it's not like this is like a judgment on the space. No, it's just, hey, this is all new. And when it's new, education now becomes really important. It really does, because you've got a lot of guys. Look, behind these funds, there's well over 100 of them now. We talk to all of them. We know them. Private equity is coming into this space fast and furious. These people, they can spin circles around everybody when it comes to finance and corporate finance and really acquisition, right? So you just need that level of education, and people need to understand what's going on and what are their options, right?
So what would you recommend? Because you mentioned education, like what should someone do?
I mean, I think number one, have as many conversations as you possibly can outside of just, responding to the aggregator that hit your inbox. I'm just going to be blunt about it, right? That's not a normal process when it comes to Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, or even middle market or more, I'd say, mature sectors or mature markets. Like private equity is always poached companies. Like they'll reach out and say, hey, we've identified your company as an acquisition target. We'd love to have a conversation. Well, typically what happens then is a company with a nice kind of C-suite and, a good corporate finance team and a great CFO will raise their hand and say, hey, we're starting to get hit in the inbox and we're starting to get reach out from buy side guys, hey, we're a good target. Okay, great. Well, let's go talk to lots of bankers. Let's talk to a lot of investment banks about what are our options. What are our choices? Folks that are specialized in that field. What are other deals that have been executed? How are we very similar? What is this process going to look like for us? What do we need to clean up? What type of consulting work needs to come into the business? So I think really when it comes to acquisition, anybody that's listening and they go, I'm considering an acquisition, I would say, hey, talk to all sides of the coin. Don't just talk to friends who may have gone through an acquisition, even direct, because they may have a bias and they never actually saw the other side of going to lots of counterparties. Talk to someone who's gone through a full process. Talk to an investment bank. Talk to a business broker. Talk to all kinds of folks to try and at least get yourself a bit educated on why it even matters for you to understand your options. I'd say at least just start there. I mean, and I'll throw it out there. Just shoot me an email. I'll tell you all kinds of resources, and really it's just to educate yourself on your options. And it's an analysis of your business, an analysis of where you are, analysis of where you could go, and then really kind of what's that good intersection of, is it the right time for me to sell the company, right? So yeah, that's just scratching the surface. There's a lot more to that, but you at least just start there.
Right. No, I love that. I think preparation, it's always good in any case. I mean, some people decide to jump in. They're a little bit more impulsive. And like you said, maybe people like to save a fee. But in the end, I think they all want to reach the same goal. They want to get the maximum profits that they can from their business. So, I agree with you on the education part. We could all get more educated. I mean, we do this daily. Like we're getting educated right now on this call. And it's always about growth, and especially mindset growth, because you need to have a lot of that for really any venture that you do. I don't think people realize how important it is to put yourself in the right mindset, because it will definitely it can change your life, or it can keep you stuck in the same level. So it's I think it's intimidating with the fact that, like you said, there's over 100 aggregators now, and it can also be very overwhelming. And some people may just decide to go with Thrasio because they have built a name for themselves, and exclude all the other factors that matter. So I understand how this is new, and people can be like, oh, they must, everybody knows what they're doing, and a little education can go a long ways. So how long you've been with this company, with Global Wired?
Yeah, we started about going on roughly 3.5 years ago. We have a whole backstory of my three partners starting Providium Advisors, which really is an investment bank focused on small business, more in the traditional sense, more in kind of the traditional categories, traditional sectors. My three partners all came from the large bulge bracket investment bank, spent a lot of time on Wall Street, working as managing directors and in various important roles when it came to different investment banking products. And then I don't know if you know anybody who's worked in investment banking, but it's not great from an hourly perspective. You work a lot of hours. It's a really lucrative space, but it's also, and you can get a lot of reward from it. But I mean, you do sacrifice a lot of your time in the process. And so, my three partners all kind of around the same time had the same epiphany of, they actually want to be family men and they want to spend time with their kids, and they want to know who their kids are. And so all just took the leap kind of into the entrepreneurial world to start their own effort. I met up with these guys about the 4 years, 3.5, 4 years ago. I lose track of time these days because things just happen way too fast. But
COVID kind of deleted everything for a year and a half. So that's like,
oh, it's crazy. Like I'm trying to because of COVID, my time references are just so off. It's crazy.
I think that's
yeah. So fast forward, I met up with these guys through a mutual friend. We're all based here in Charlotte, and really kind of playing off the idea of deploying an investment banking type of structure, investment banking background, and process, which is really important. It's a much different process working with a Fortune 500 company than it is, kind of the business broker process that's been deployed in this space. And so really deploying those types of resources, background, et cetera, into a small business, there was a level of passion there that said, we really enjoy taking a small business through that process and watching that business get that optimized, kind of trade or transaction, versus just kind of going through the typical business broker process, where you're probably not going to get that optimized trade. And so we just had a passion. And really the focus was, hey, let's turn our focus here to e-commerce. Obviously all the data, I've been working in e-commerce my entire career, one way or another, working for, kind of inside the juvenile and toy space, and kind of watched it evolve as I first came in, and Amazon was just this weird bookseller still, and kind of was evolving into something, but didn't actually have the marketplace yet. And so it was all 1P, and they were poaching everybody they could at trade shows. I think we were actually one of the first baby brands that hit 1P. Yeah, it was Combi. It was a Japanese business or company. But anyway, so it was interesting to watch e-commerce, especially retailers, just kind of take shape. I remember talking to, Wayfair when they were CSN stores, and they had like 7 employees, right? And I remember meeting with diapers.com in their little tiny house in New Jersey, where I'm sitting in a cubicle with the buyer, and literally like next to me is the door of, the CEO and COO, and, kind of watching this evolution, and then kind of, moving into 2017, 18, watching kind of the bull. It was starting to become a little bit of a bull market in the sense of the gold rush of FBA really happened around 14, 15. And then seeing these businesses by 18, 19 starting to really take shape and grow into something that was like a real asset, we turned our attention and focus into e-commerce and really digital consumer products. So that's how we got into it. And now today we're a team of, 11 in a week. We've got a research head starting very soon. And we're hiring for 5 more people. So we're going to be an investment bank close to 15 people here, probably by the end of the year. So yeah, what started as a small little idea of, hey, we really think this is going to be a blossoming sector, has just turned into something that's made a lot of people a lot of money, yourself included, this little space of ours.
Yeah, no, it's true. Very, very interesting how you were able to like connect with all these like brands and people when they were like in the beginning. What do you think of Walmart? Like, where do you see Walmart?
Yeah, I think Walmart is behind, and I think that they are trying to play massive amounts of catch up. I remember, kind of even working with Walmart.com when they were first up and running, and kind of their particular infrastructure. I think at the time they had the same buyer for Walmart.com was typically the same buyer for stores, and then they started to really show more focus because Amazon was kicking their rear end. And I think now they're just playing a massive amount of catch up. And I do think that Amazon I think they need a strong competitor. I mean, Target's also, I talked to a friend of mine who was a senior buyer at Target. and then left to become the EVP of Babies R Us, RIP, right? And so
Right. Oh my God.
he was like the general merchandiser of all the Babies R Us's, and then it went down. So he came back, and now he's still working in Target. And I had a conversation with him a couple months ago, and he was saying how when he left Target and went to Babies R Us, he said, believe it or not, they were more technologically advanced at Babies R Us than they were at Target. And when he came back working with Target now, he's like, they're trying to play a massive amount of catch up.
But why do you think they're not able to finally get it together? Like, I don't possibly understand. I mean, they have all the means to.
Well, think about it. They've got, Target's got 2,000 stores. Walmart's got 3,800 stores. That's their infrastructure. Like, that's what they're made up of, right? And so when you're Amazon and you're not that, and you have no stores, real brick and mortar, it's just a different business model. And so effectively it's two different ships, where Amazon's kind of been in the speedboat and they can really move quick. You've got the cruise ship called Target and Walmart, where to move that thing, it just takes a lot of momentum. And really from top down, Bezos is a very aggressive guy, and he always has been. And I mean, their marketplace has been in play, and their marketplace started in 2006. They got 15 years now of a marketplace, and they own an unsurmountable amount of data right now, because all of us use Amazon. We tons of third party, tons of 1P. They've got all the data. So it's just a lot of catch up. I think what they're going to do, if you want my speculation, and we're actually going to do a bunch of research on this. So we'll be providing the space with really strong research on what we think. I think the speculation is going to be, and this is pretty basic, and it's kind of like, well, duh, but you're going to see them do something with 3P, kind of third-party marketplaces utilizing their stores. And so their actual stores are going to look a lot different going forward. Like for instance, there's a baby product company called Mockingbird that's only D2C, but they just actually worked out a deal with Target to feature their products in the store, and almost, Target is in some sense drop shipping. So, it's giving Mockingbird, who doesn't have a physical store for people to, like moms and dads, which is very important when they're making their purchasing decisions. I know this just coming from the industry. Mom wants to touch and feel everything before she puts her baby in it, right? That's typically what her mindset is. And that's why, like with baby products, you do get a lot of returns, because they'll bring it from Amazon, touch and feel, pack it back up, and send it right back to Amazon. So it's something very interesting to watch. Target has been doing this with direct to consumer brands. It's a big focus for them. But they're gonna start using their retail footprints in a much different way. Whether it's kind of how what Amazon does with the 4-star stores. Hey, come and see our best selling products. They're about to do it with department stores. Hey, we suck at high end fashion, because you have to try it on. You want to look at yourself in a mirror. And by the way, just Amazon name being kind of, related to high-end fashion, like selling Oscar de la Renta on Amazon feels weird. So I think they're going to do something with their stores that will really feed in the distribution and could be a massive flywheel. So like Amazon, now you got me going, Isabella. Amazon,
go for it.
They've been, I don't know if they've struggled with, say, 1-day delivery, but if Target and Walmart can get logistics right because of all the footprints they have, I mean, how many Targets are around you right now? 4, 5, 6?
Where I live?
Yeah.
1, but it's literally walking distance.
How many Walmarts are around you? Probably 2, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so if they got their logistics right, 1-day shipping for them would be a hell of a lot easier than Amazon. So we'll see what happens. I think it's definitely the place sellers need to start turning their attention towards, really building out a real brand. And they need to turn their attention to diversity for sure.
So you think Walmart can make it?
Yes,
like,
I do.
As in like Amazon level.
I don't know if they'll ever get to Amazon level. No, because Amazon is just so far ahead, and they're so stinking smart. I do think that there's market share to be taken from a marketplace perspective. And I think that, there's a lot of smart people at Walmart, and they've got a lot of freaking money. And so does Target, and they've got a lot of smart people as well.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. I mean, they definitely have smart people. They definitely have the money. Like, what is it that's holding them back from becoming, you know, really like Amazon? But maybe they don't want to become like Amazon.
Yeah, I don't know if I think what they're going to do is build out their marketplaces in a very unique way. I mean, the next thing that Walmart has to do is they've got to build out the advertising infrastructure, and give the sellers the ability to really kind of control their own destiny, and in some ways let it be a bit Hunger Games. May the best win and survive type of thing. Because effectively, that's Amazon now, right?
Yeah.
So there's some changes that need to be made, but I think you're right. I think to your point, I don't think they necessarily want to create a strategy where they say we are Amazon. I think they want to create a strategy that's very much tailored to who they are at their core. So,
and they are Walmart at their core. They're not Amazon.
Walmart. They are Walmart at their core. Because I mean, yeah, that's the other thing is, how far can they stretch? I remember talking to Walmart buyers back in the day, and specifically, I remember having a conversation with my Target buyer when I met with her. We were talking about the disparity between Target.com shopper and Target in-store shopper, and she just flat out said, "Our data shows us that we can sell a Weber grill all day long on Target.com, but in store, it's almost impossible. We've got to sell the lowest end Weber grill." So
why is that?
I don't know, honestly. I think because Target stores itself, and so does Walmart. They fill their shelves with affordable product. It's not Nordstrom, and so on Target.com, being able to offer higher end product, you just get a different type of consumer, as well as they're able to exercise like the Target Red Card as part of kind of their not rewards program, but a utility to pay for product. You get 5% off. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation. We had to get into my product line and getting it up on Target.com. So I didn't have a chance. This was several years ago to really get into, walk me through where you get your data and how you understand they're two different types of people. So.
Hello. We have a surprise guest.
I love it. Oh my gosh, so sweet. So stinking sweet. How old?
He is 5. Say good morning. Since
Hi,
you're
good
live,
morning.
since you're live on Seller Sessions.
I don't like waking up on bright light.
Okay, you don't like waking up on bright light. Give me 1 second, Chris. I have nobody to help me out.
You take your time. I am right here. Seriously, that's priority. It's so cute. Oh my God.
Good morning,
everyone.
Good morning.
You may continue to talk to the audience if you'd like for a few seconds.
I will just wait for you and stare at the camera. Hey, Sophia, I saw your question. I'll just answer these questions kind of in real time. Contact me. We've got a pretty specific view. We'll make sure to put all my contact information on here, but I don't think I'm answering one of the questions, by the way, while you were on.
Is this from Sophia?
Yes, it's from Sophia. Do you think the trend of these funds buying Amazon businesses is short-lived, 12 to 18 months? You see as a long-run trend? I think that yeah, contact me. We'll go into a lot more detail as much as you want, but I'll give you a high-level answer. No, I don't think that it is a short-lived trend in the business model sense. I think that there are going to be survivors, and you will know who they are in the next 12 to 18 months, because a lot of these funds have received lines of credit from venture debt, and you will know very quickly if they're good or not at operating, because they've got to deploy all of that debt in lines of credit quickly. It's kind of like getting an LOC from your bank. When you don't use it, they take it back. They don't like it to sit there. And so it's a little bit of the same way, but massively amplified. So yeah, you're going to see survivors. Thras isn't going anywhere. You've got guys who have made it to kind of Series B or Series C They're not going to go anywhere. That typically puts a lot of starch, in our opinion, into their fund. But there's going to be a lot of consolidation and failure for sure. That happens. An aggregator model is not new for an industry. It's been around for a while. And so we've seen this show before, and we already know it's not just the trailer to the movie. We know what the ending scene looks like, and it's going to be consolidation, failure. And what it's going to birth is a lot of better ideas on how to attack acquisitions and growth in the space.
Thank you for your answer.
Yes. Hi, Ionut. I believe is that
Yes.
I believe that's how I say his name. Hello.
Well, it's a Romanian name, so it's Ionuț.
Oh, Ionuț. I love it. I'm so glad I went full on Southern American on that name, man. At least I didn't take out an accent on that.
It was pretty good, yeah.
Well, it's a great name.
We have interesting names for sure. So some of us.
Love it. So, anyways, as we were talking, you were asking me about Walmart. I think the macro view is, I think that they're going to. I think that is the next place where, kind of quick hit Amazon sellers should be focusing their attention. And I think there's still, look, Walmart 3P is Amazon 2010 3P. I think they're behind. I say they're behind probably 10 years, 10 to 9 years.
I like the sound of that because I'm always for the more the better, and also I'm a little biased because I just bought a ton of stock in Walmart. I mean, I Amazon one, but I'm really betting on Walmart. Like I can see it. I can see. They're doing really good. I mean, I've never considered Walmart before getting into this business. I never looked at Walmart as, a place I would necessarily shop in, but I can see that a lot of people, it's their to-go-to store, and some people still just shop in the store. They're always full if you ever walk in there. So I think it has a very good long row ahead, and I really hope they make it. I hope they make it as big as Amazon or bigger, and I hope more platforms come to life. And
agreed.
The more the better for us, the consumers, to have more choice and competitive prices for sure, especially now with with China and everything getting more expensive and the containers. It's always good to have different places that you can pick from as a consumer side, not as a aggregator or as a service provider or anything like that.
No, it is great. I think that Amazon has had an incredible bull run on their third party marketplace. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think through COVID, all of the secular tailwinds are in e-commerce and e-commerce's favor. And Amazon is kind of they are number one when you talk about e-commerce. And so, they're not going anywhere, but I think there's plenty, there's some stats out there that says that the kind of retail penetration of e-commerce in a total percentage of retail sales, traditionally it's grown like 1% a year over the past decades. It's been slower in the latter half of the decade, kind of going into the more recent times, but COVID obviously accelerated all of that. And then I've seen some stats that say by 2030, you're going to see e-commerce retail penetration of sales, that percentage being roughly 50%. So there's plenty of market share for folks to come in my opinion, to really give Amazon a real, make themselves a real competitor, a real threat. And obviously Walmart's number one on that list for sure. So it's interesting. I had a good friend I used to work with, or just a guy I knew that I worked with at Babies R Us, and then he went to Bye Bye Baby, which you might be familiar with them. Mm-hmm. They're owned by Bed Bath & Beyond. He actually just went to go work for Walmart on their e-commerce team. And so I've been meaning to ping him, set up some time, and just kind of pick his brain on, well, what do you think? I mean, you're in the lion's den.
You should definitely record it and put it on YouTube. I mean,
I should.
You were talking about education. What we can do our part, and always offer a lot of advice, or and if not even advice, just see other people's perspective. Like, it's always good to to share. That's
I
why
agree.
we're a community. Like, you find out, or you tell me, or we tell the world, and then people can make a better educated decision
That's
when
right.
it comes to really anything. The only people that I feel like struggle with this is those who are pretty much biased and one-sided. I only do this way because I've been doing it this way my whole life.
Yeah.
And those that I see that are very successful in anything they do, they're very flexible with their mindset. They say, okay, I understand, I was born this way and I've done this my whole life, but what if I just try something new, something else?
No, it's true.
And if they do that, it doesn't mean that they're all of a sudden their whole life is going to change, but at least take in consideration there are other options for really anything you want to do in life. And once you have both, you can then understand, was it my thought that I had about this particular situation? I know I'm very vague, but it all comes down to that. Like, sometimes we tend to think we own our thoughts and what we think, but really we don't know if it was given to us from society or from our culture or from our family. Was I born with that thought? Is it mine,
Yeah,
or is it something
that's
I
right.
acquired
That's
from
right.
home?
Why do I have the bias that I have,
And
basically?
you can literally apply this to, like, what you said, that you have to go through, with certain people that you meet. And I do the same with Ring Bell. And you can apply it to politics. One side is this, one side is that. And if we just take our time and realize, like, where are these ideas even coming from? Maybe they're not even yours. So being able to look at both things and then make an educated decision, I think that's always something that we have that's made for us
That's
to
right.
help us on the long run. So
Yeah, I think flexibility and the ability to take a risk too. I think a lot of people they like their warm blankets a lot, right? They like their sacred, we call them sacred cows, right? They like to kind of hold on to something heavily from a religious perspective, and not actual like church. I'm saying like religious in the sense of that's what they hold and cling on to. And really, in order to, I think, some of the most successful people I've met, they're massively flexible, and they are comfortable with taking risk. And so I think I'm doing a costume change, by the way, because the computer is bugging my my eye.
costume change, I love it.
Yeah, a little
If
costume.
it was that, you see, Chris, it's so easy for men. It's like, I'm going to be somebody different.
That's
Put
right.
on glasses.
Just throw
over.
on some Clark Kent glasses here, but
Exactly. For women, it's like, oh, I have to redo my hair color, my makeup, my
it's a
top,
whole thing.
my
Okay.
undertop, my everything. And listen, it's so easy.
That's
Must
so
be
true.
nice. Must
No,
be nice
you
to that.
kind of nailed it. It's true. It's true. So yeah, I mean, look, I think, going back to, even taking it a step further, and a point that I made, I think a lot of sellers out there, if they're just now growing their business and really looking towards, say, an acquisition in the next 12 to 18 months or even 24 months, diversity is important. I think that this space needs to continue to talk about the diversity and what that looks like. I think, I think you and I both know Colin Foster, right?
Mhm.
You know Colin.
I think I met him.
He has an agency, I believe it's called Brain Power. What they do is they help, and it could be something else. And Colin, if you're listening, I'm so sorry, but I believe it's called Brain Power. They help Amazon brands rotate off of Amazon and into Shopify, but they take them through a whole vetting process to understand, can you actually do that? And instead of, hey, don't spend all your money trying, let us vet and tell you if you can. If you can, then obviously you engage with them and they help you build your Shopify account, and really kind of a direct to consumer effort. He's getting a lot more inquiry on that these days, because look, plain and simple, when you build a brand and you can own your data, which is really important too,
Right.
But really building that brand and being able to build out kind of that loyal consumer, every single time, it's not even a percentage, it's 100% of the time, you will absolutely get a higher multiple. You will absolutely get more money for your company. No questions asked. Period. I mean, there's hardly any nuance.
That's it.
Period. There's barely even any nuance there. I mean, what we've discovered is, if you've got a business that owns a loyal consumer following, but has a diversity, you've got a good presence on Amazon that's creating that great halo effect, and you've got diversity into Walmart, and you've got some diversity into other marketplaces. but you really are growing your direct to consumer and you own the consumer, which sounds weird to say, but you're really owning that data. It's a powerful and compelling message when you take it out to like way past the aggregators and you're taking it to private equity and you're taking it to large corporate strategics. It's a very powerful message.
What are like, give me like 2 or 3 things that you think people are not aware of when they go directly to an aggregator?
That there are way more options than just those guys. They want you to believe because they're let me back it up. There is a ton of liquidity going after FBA assets right now. So over $7 billion have been raised. All these stats have been thrown around by a lot of people because they're all public domain stats. Well, what does that mean? You've got a ton of attention from 100 different people wanting to buy your Amazon business. And some Amazon sellers go, I can't even believe I can sell my company. And so they're more inclined to be like, hey, we talked to somebody a month ago, told him he was leaving $1.5 million on the table and still just wanted to go direct with one of the first bids that he got. I don't think he believed that he could even sell his company, you know? So, I mean, there's still some of that going on, and I get that. But when you've got something that's a brand, when you've got something that, you know, like you built really hard to scale, and for it to go way further than just, you know, maybe even being an Amazon brand or only certain amount, like you really chose to focus on brand, not products that were cash flowing in different categories, which we see a lot. You know, my biggest point to business owners like that is there are a lot more options for you outside of just the aggregator funds. A lot, actually.
So you said that you think that seller was maybe scared that this was like the only offer and they couldn't even say, so they were just like excited that somebody made them an offer and they were just going to.
It's a little bit of like, one, you know,
because if somebody told me I'm going to get another $1.5 million more, then I wouldn't have.
Well, I think there's one, you know, do I really believe what you're saying? There's obviously that. Do I, and I mean, I can tell you, you know, we didn't win the client. So I can tell you that he left $1.5 million on the table. It's not a marketing ploy. It's not a sales bullet point, you know? So I think part of it is it's a bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush is a phrase, you know. I've already got it. Why worry about the others? I've got it here. I could just, they're telling me they're going to close me in 28 days, which never happens. They're telling me it's going to be very easy, which it never is the case. But still, I've got it. And by the way, you know, this is someone that was worried about capital gains tax maybe going up in January. You know, so there was a couple of different factors, and he wanted it done really fast. So it's like, hey, I got the offer. I want it done quickly. I'm just going forward with this. I'm so sorry, right? And to me, I go, yeah, I understand. I mean, look, bottom line is it was a good business, but it was not going to go past the aggregators, period. Private equity wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And so to me, I go, okay, I kind of understand that mentality a little bit. But for someone who's got a strong brand or even growing a really strong brand, just please understand you have more options out there. And the only way that you understand, I'm going to use a trader term, a trading floor term, which is called the market clearing rate. The only time you understand the market clearing rate for your business, which means it's the apex of how much the market's going to pay for your company. The only way that you'll know that is you got to go through a full marketing process, and you got to go to a lot of different people and put your business in front of a lot of different eyes. Because Isabella, if I got a really good brand, I could have 20 people all looking at it, and all 20 of them will see it differently. And you have no idea between 1 to 20 who's going to see it the best. We had a deal we took to market it closed in June, 10 bids, outdoor, home and patio, great category, got a ton of interest, 10 solid, strong bids. The spread on that was $7 million at the lowest offer, $12 million at the highest. You got a spread of $5 million. 10 bids. You, seller, have no idea who bid number 1 is at $7 million, and you have no clue who bid number 10 is at $12 million. And here's a hint. One of the highest bidders, you don't hear about them in a lot in PR releases. You don't hear about them on LinkedIn all the time. You're not watching their videos. You're not you have no clue who the best possible buyer for your business is. What's the market true clearing rate until you go through a process? And that, to me, I would think any seller, that's part of the education process, would take a step back and go, okay, I see what you mean, because that's a pretty compelling way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite the skill there, you know.
It's a huge spread.
Mm-hmm.
It's a massive, massive spread. So you're talking about millions of dollars being left on the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, that's my one thing I would tell them. Number two, I would say, these are going to be more kind of, I'd call them vague bullet points, but they're really, really germane, and they typically require a longer conversation. But know your stinking financials, like know your numbers and really know them, clean them up. I can't tell you the amount of people I talk to. They're just like, hey, I've got a business and it's great. It's a brand and this and that. And it is everything lines up. And then we get to the financials and it's just, everything breaks down. They thought they were doing 3 million of EBITDA. They actually were only doing 2. It's just, they don't know their numbers very well. And I'd say number 3, to fast forward, is just understand your metrics, like really understand them, like know your business and know where you're headed. Take a view on that, because that's going to be really important when you go out to market and you start talking to really sophisticated buyers. These guys are, financially brilliant and they understand consumer products, but they want you as a business owner to know your business really well and take a view on where everything's going. So those are some vague points, but they're really, really, really important.
Yeah. It sounds like it.
Know your numbers. That's it, man. It's kind of what it boils down to. Just know your stinking numbers.
So when you have a client coming to you, you go through that whole process of checking their numbers, their financial. Do you have like a whole section of your business that just focuses on that?
Yeah. So, the way that we break down as an investment bank is we've got business development, which is what I run. And I've got a few folks that work for me. And I'm about to actually hire out a full business development team. And then we've got what's called the transactions team. So we've got a bullpen out in our office. We call it the bullpen. It's just, lots of desks. And we've got senior associates, senior analysts, vice presidents. And then of course we've got the managing partners, which really act as managing directors. And so, when we bring a client kind of through the door, it's not a client yet. It's really, we're vetting them. And, we're analyzing their numbers. We're having lots of calls with them. We really want to understand their business. We want to understand their business model. We're combing through every single piece of data that's being sent to us. And we're coming to our own conclusions on really, is this something that we can successfully transact if we take to market? Because our closing rate is very high. And that's not just a BS thing, because we don't take on lots of volume. We're trying to really be very cautious in who we bring through the door as a client. And so, we vet them. So we have a whole transactions team that actually does that are all internal folks. And they came from the larger investment banks, Wells Securities, Piper Sandler, Trinity Capital, et cetera.
Okay. So when do you guys get paid? Like, right, when transaction is being done, like walk me through that process.
Yeah, lion's share, yes. I mean, there's some special cases where we've done some retainers per month just because there's a lot of work to do before you go to market. We've seen it all. I mean, we've got one client who had 5 LLCs in one QuickBooks. That was not fun. So we had to take the one LLC we were selling and kind of untangle everything. And then in most cases, we'll take a small upfront fee, and really it's very, very, very minor, and only to cover what would be a very negative ledger all the way up until where we make all of our money is with you. So when we successfully transact the business, that's when lion's share of the cash that we make is when you have a successful transaction.
So until then, you just offer content, help.
It is cleaning up your business, preparing your business, putting together marketing materials, understanding the company from start to finish. You're not on the phone with everybody. So we're the ones talking to every single acquirer. We're having multiple conversations. We're providing them a lot of detail. We put them in our data room. And so they live in our data room. We feed them information through the secure data room. And then we're having more conversations and pushing them towards giving an offer for the company. Then when the offers come in, we do full analysis on all of the offers. We're advising you. We give you advisory services on, hey, here's who we marketed to. Here's who really liked your business. Here are the offers that came in. Now we start talking about which is probably the best acquirer for your company. When you get on management calls at that point, you'll talk to probably the top 2 or 3 bidders for the business. And then we pick a lead dog, and then the real fun starts. It's called closing. A lot of folks think, a lot of people have never been through that before. We'll leave it there. So this isn't a disparaging comment, but it really is absolutely the most difficult part of any transaction is closing. It lasts typically 60 to 75 days. Aggregators say it's fast. And you know what? They do get away with some quick closings when they go direct. But most of the time, that just means that the seller overlooked a lot of stuff throughout the closing process. So anyways, then there's a closing, and then we all get paid. Everybody makes a lot of money.
Right. No, I love that. I love it when it all ends well and everybody's very successful, making a lot of money. Sorry, we didn't get to go too much into your personal life and your personal mindset, but in closing, do you want to tell us maybe what keeps you so passionate about this, and are you this passionate in other areas of your life, or are you really pouring in your whole soul into this?
That's a great question. I think just by nature, I've always been in sales and marketing. So I think sales and marketing personalities tend to be just more passionate about life in general. So I think it's just kind of the DNA.
I know.
Exactly. The personality DNA. I'd say, look, what keeps me going, and this sounds like such BS, and I'll say it at the end, and if anyone's still listening, I care, but I don't care. I'll just say it out loud. My family keeps me going. They really do, and they're my core. They're the ones that have been through, my wife and my kids. They've seen all the ups, all the downs. I share a lot with my kids on what's going on with my work because I want them to kind of understand how hard it is. And, a lot of times you only see the success and you see the ups, or you've got parents who only shared with you very specific things about their own life. And I want my kids to see, I want them to see when it's hard. I want them to see when I get emotional. I want them to see when I get, when we have wins and when we have closings here and we're able to successfully close on a business, which I'll get to that part of the passion in a moment. My whole family, we go out to dinner together. We celebrate, because it's something that's, it's a big deal. And so on the other side of that coin, Jason, myself, Joe, and Chris, we talk about this a lot. We really, am I allowed to curse at all? Can I curse?
If you must.
You know what? I won't. We give a crap. There you go. We give a crap. We really do about our client and really seeing a successful trade. And that does drive us to pour a lot of passion into every deal. It's fun. Look, man, it's fun to see someone change their station in life. Like, it is a life-changing event. I mean, it really, for the whole family, I can't tell you, we had a guy just the other day reach back out to us. He started another Amazon business, and he said, look, I just can't thank you enough for working with me and getting me a successful trade, because we were able to provide this is, I'm going to pull on the heartstrings. So please pause anyone thinking I'm doing this for a sales tactic. But he said, I was able to really provide for my wife's cancer treatment. And I'm like, there you go. That's it. That's the nugget to me. Others choose to do a lot of other things with their money, but I'm like, we have such a unique opportunity and we don't take it for granted. Yeah. And that's part of my passion. So
I love that. And, since you bring that up, at Rank Bell, we have almost 100% success rate, which is crazy to say for any service out there.
I love that.
Of course, a lot of, if not most of my clients, are not very open about what they do and how they get to, the financial success. And I never hold it. I never say, oh, you should tell everybody that it was because of Rank Bell. I am a service. I am here to provide some help to them. So I don't really care, if they tell other people about Rank Bell or not. But what I do care is what they tell me in private. And I hear stories all the time. You know what? I've been selling on Amazon for 3 years. I never thought I would have this kind of success by using your service. So I completely 100% agree with what you're saying. It's in the end, we're all human, and money is nice. But when you're able to help somebody and change their life and improve their financial, however they decide to use it, in your case, for somebody's cancer treatment, or in another case, for somebody that just likes to donate food for Christmas, and others,
All of the
you take them
above.
out of poverty. I mean, there's just so many cases. And as I said, Chris, like almost 100% success rate for us. And we
I
hear
love
the stories all the time, all the time, all the time. And selfishly, it makes me feel happy.
You should. Look, you're
Makes
the
me feel
gasoline.
complete.
That's what you are. You're the gasoline, right?
Yeah.
You provide, you're the jet fuel, actually, is what you
Yeah.
really are. You take somebody from, and that's all the different milestones in a seller's journey, and you're there right at the beginning, maybe in the middle, maybe a little bit towards the end as they're launching new products, but you're a very important piece of that financial success. And I think, you and I both know a lot of the same people. We talk to a lot of different people in the space. I think one of the things that continues to amaze me, look, you got some shisty people. I've met some posers. I've met some shisty people, but I'd say for the most part, the folks that I've been able to really get to know and hang around, they're very, very passionate around the same types of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met a lot of altruistic people, like, are really genuinely, like, they love to give. And just kind of, they're not so kind of take. I also just try not to hang out with those people who take.
Yeah.
But this sector is really filled, I think, with a lot of very helpful people. So
I think so. Otherwise, I wouldn't be hanging out with them. Like, I really value my time, and yet I am at a lot of events, at a lot of conferences, but I choose my tribe. Like, this is my tribe. And I feel like, our Amazon community, it's still relatively small. Like, it seems big. Like, we were at Prosper and it was like person after person after person, but yet it's very small. It's so small that, when I talk, like, I have some clients that are in the high nine figures, and they never go to these events. They have no idea. Like, they have no idea. I'm like, Helium 10. They're like, Helium who? I'm like, never mind. So, so our community is very small. Let's put it this way.
It is. It's small, and I think it's very unique. So yeah, when you were asking about kind of what drives the passion, I'd say those two things: family for sure, and then I'd say kind of next to that is, just giving a crap about our clients. Really actually caring. We're not a chop shop, man. We're not here for volume. When we take a client on, we pour a lot of resource and time and bandwidth into them, like you do. And it shows. It really does, and it shows across the board. So. Yeah, those two things.
I love it. No, this was great. Thank you for coming on today and
hanging
out with me on this beautiful Monday morning. How can people reach you if they want to reach out to you?
Yeah, just come to our website. There's a lot of ways to get a hold of us through our website. My phone number's on there, so you can get a hold of me right away. My email address is on there. And we've got a valuation tool, which, I don't really advertise a whole lot, but people like it just because they like to put in their numbers. It's a 90,000 foot view. So you can fill that out, or you can fill out a consultation form. I mean, kind of in the spirit of altruism, we like to talk to a lot of sellers. When you were asking about educating, that's part of the education process. Let's just, if you will never be our client, at least just talk to us and let us give you some options and some good resources.
I can attest to that. Chris and I didn't really know each other, and Tim Jordan introduced us, and I asked you a question, and you were absolutely, what do you need? And I don't think you even consider the possibility that I would be able to like pay that back in any way. So I agree. You are very helpful, and your team is amazing, and I am so glad we are friends and that we're connected. And and it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much for letting me come. Are you going to BDSS, by the way?
When is that?
$1 Billion Seller Summit. Are you going?
Yes. Of course, September. I booked it. I just need to get my flight.
Okay. Yes, you better get.
That's what I'm like. What's the date? I work with dates. I'm like, what date is that? No, but thank you for reminding me. Once we're done here, I need to get my flight because everything else is taken care of. So.
Great. Well, I'll see you there. And again, thank you.
I will see you there. Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris. Have a wonderful end of the week.
All right.